Prepare to be amazed by the transformative discoveries you're about to uncover in this video. As you watch until the very end, it may shock you to know that an estimated 38 older adults will be hospitalized due to falls linked to muscle deterioration, a preventable condition silently stealing the independence of an entire generation. Once we cross the threshold of age 60, our bodies may begin to shed up to a third of their muscle mass, often without overt signs of illness. This hidden condition, medically termed sarcopenia, is a primary driver behind a staggering 87% of nursing home admissions, triggering profound emotional and financial challenges for families. What makes this even more concerning is that muscle loss often happens without warning. Seniors may one day realize they can no longer stand up from a chair unassisted, or suffer serious fractures from minor falls due to the frailty of under-supported bones. However, groundbreaking research conducted by the renowned Boston Institute of Aging Medicine has pinpointed specific foods capable of reversing this muscle-wasting process, even for those in their 70s and 80s. Most astonishingly, one food item on this list contains a rare protein fraction that has, in clinical trials, outperformed some prescription medications in restoring muscle mass, a feat many healthcare providers once thought impossible. In fact, this food helped 91% of participants regain muscle mass in just 6 weeks. Odds are, it's not currently part of your regular diet. Before we dive into this life-enhancing information, let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more science-backed wellness insights. Now, without further delay, let's begin our journey to muscle resilience. 1. Whey protein. Joe Thompson never thought much about growing old. He figured if he kept moving, kept doing the things he loved, gardening, walking his dog, tinkering with his old motorcycle, he'd stay strong. But somewhere between 65 and 72, things started to shift. His knees ached a little more. His steps felt less steady. He noticed it was harder to lift the flower pots he used to move with ease. Worst of all, he started feeling like his body was slowly slipping away from him. One chilly morning, while trying to haul a bag of soil onto his garden bench, Joe lost his balance and stumbled. He caught himself, but not without a bruise and a blow to his pride. That evening, over tea, he mentioned it to his granddaughter, Emily. Emily was a personal trainer, young, bright, and passionate about healthy aging. She looked at Joe with a gentle smile and said, "Grandpa, you're not getting weaker just because you're older. Your muscles just aren't getting what they need anymore." Joe raised an eyebrow. "What do they need?" "Whey protein," she said matter-of-factly. He laughed. "Isn't that for gym rats and bodybuilders?" "Not at all," she replied. "Whey protein is actually one of the best tools for helping older adults stay strong. Your muscles are still ready to grow, Grandpa. They just need the right fuel." Intrigued, Joe listened as Emily explained. As people age, they develop something called anabolic resistance, a condition where the body doesn't respond to muscle-building signals as efficiently. That's where whey protein comes in. It digests quickly and is packed with leucine, an amino acid that acts like a green light for muscle growth. But there was more. Whey isn't just about building muscle. It contains bioactive peptides, tiny compounds that help improve blood flow and insulin sensitivity, two things that tend to decline with age. Studies in the Journal of Geriatric Medicine even showed that daily whey intake improved strength, balance, and muscle mass, even in seniors who didn't exercise. Joe leaned back in his chair, thoughtful. "So, you're telling me this powder can actually make me stronger, even without hitting the gym?" Emily nodded. "Exactly. But if you do stay active, it works even better." The next day, Joe gave it a shot. Emily helped him pick out a clean, minimally processed whey isolate, free from added sugars and fillers. They made a smoothie together, a scoop of whey, a handful of blueberries, a bit of spinach, almond milk, and a touch of cinnamon. It tasted surprisingly good. He made it a habit. Every morning after his walk, Joe blended up his power shake. Over the next few weeks, something started to change. His balance improved. His arms didn't tire so easily when pruning bushes. Even getting up from his favorite armchair felt easier. At the community garden, neighbors started noticing. "Joe, you're looking strong these days," one woman said. He smiled, patting his chest. "Must be the secret sauce," he joked. It wasn't a miracle, but it was real. Joe felt like himself again, confident, mobile, and full of life. And all it took was a simple addition to his routine. No expensive treatments, no pills, just 1 scoop of protein a day, and a little belief that strength doesn't have to fade with age. Now, Joe tells everyone who will listen, you don't have to slow down just because you're getting older. Sometimes, you just need the right fuel to keep going. 2. Grass-fed lean beef. John had never given much thought to what kind of beef he ate until he turned 50. Years of desk work and minimal activity had left his muscles feeling weaker and his energy levels dipping lower than he liked to admit. Determined to make a change, he began exploring ways to rebuild his strength and vitality. That's when he stumbled upon something that would change his approach to nutrition: grass-fed lean beef. It wasn't just any beef that caught John's attention. It was grass-fed, lean cuts like tenderloin and sirloin. 1 4-ounce serving, he discovered, delivers an impressive 25 grams of high-quality protein, rich in leucine, a key amino acid that jumpstarts muscle protein synthesis. But that wasn't all. This modest serving also came packed with creatine for muscular energy, zinc for immune and hormonal health, and a full suite of B vitamins, essential for turning food into fuel. The more John read, the more convinced he became. Grass-fed beef, unlike its grain-fed counterpart, offered superior anti-inflammatory properties. Thanks to its higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid, CLA. It wasn't just about muscle. It was about overall vitality. John was no scientist, but he was fascinated by what the research showed. A well-known study from McMaster University had followed older adults who combined resistance training with beef-based protein sources. The results were eye-opening. Those who included beef in their diets gained significantly more muscle mass than those relying on plant proteins alone. For John, this was the kind of hard evidence he needed. Muscle wasn't just preserved, it was built. Inspired and informed, John restructured his weekly meals. He didn't go overboard. Just 2 to 3 servings per week of quality cuts like sirloin or tenderloin, prepared simply but deliciously. He grilled it, sliced it thin for salads, or simmered it slowly in stews. The change was subtle at first. A little more energy in the morning, less soreness after workouts. But by the 3rd month, he was lifting heavier weights, recovering faster, and walking taller. Grass-fed beef had become more than a meal. It was part of his transformation. 3. Mixed berries. On a quiet morning in late spring, Emma stood in her kitchen, peering into a bowl of bright red strawberries, deep blue blueberries, and velvety raspberries. Their colors seemed to glow in the sunlight, a quiet reminder of nature's quiet power. She had read something intriguing a few weeks ago, a study from the Tufts University Aging Research Lab, and since then, she had started a new habit: 1 cup of mixed berries every day. Emma wasn't a scientist, but she was curious. What was it about these berries that made researchers so excited? The answer lay deep inside the fruit, in compounds called anthocyanins. These powerful antioxidants, responsible for the berries' vibrant colors, do far more than please the eye. They help protect muscle cells from oxidative stress, the kind of damage that builds up quietly over time, especially as we age. And when paired with vitamin C, found in abundance in these tiny fruits, the benefits become even more impressive. Vitamin C plays a starring role in collagen production, and collagen is the scaffolding that keeps muscles, tendons, and ligaments strong and supported. For people like Emma, who wanted to stay active and resilient as the years passed, this wasn't just nutrition, it was strategy. The Tufts study had been simple but profound. Older adults who regularly consumed berries showed better muscle recovery and improved physical performance. There were no magic pills or overnight fixes, just consistency and a handful of berries a day. Emma found that beautiful. Real food, real change, and it didn't have to be expensive or complicated. Frozen berries, she discovered, were just as potent and often half the price. She tossed them into smoothies, swirled them into oatmeal, or just snacked on the plane, straight from a freezer like little nuggets of natural medicine. Now, a month into her berry ritual, Emma felt different. Her walks felt easier, her joints less stiff. Was it the berries? Maybe. But whatever it was, she felt like she had a small secret, a sweet, juicy way to age with strength and grace. 4. Extra virgin olive oil. When Maria turned 65, she started to notice something subtle but persistent. Getting up from the couch took a bit more effort. Carrying groceries felt a little heavier than it used to. It wasn't alarming, just different. That's when her doctor gently brought up something many people overlook: muscle degradation as we age. "Don't worry," he told her with a smile. "We can make a few small changes that will have a big impact." Maria expected the usual talk, more protein, maybe a new supplement. But instead, her doctor surprised her. "Add extra virgin olive oil to your daily routine." She blinked. "Olive oil?" "Yes," he nodded. "Not just any oil. Extra virgin olive oil, EVO. It's more than a kitchen staple. It's an anti-inflammatory powerhouse." What her doctor explained next fascinated her. EVO contains a compound called oleocanthal, which acts remarkably like ibuprofen. It doesn't just soothe aches, it helps reduce enzymes that break down muscle tissue over time. That means EVO could help fight chronic inflammation that chips away at strength without us even noticing. A landmark study from Barcelona, the renowned Prime Project, had tracked the effects of the Mediterranean diet on aging populations. The results were clear. Older adults who incorporated olive oil into their daily meals experienced noticeable improvements in muscle tone and strength. And it wasn't just about muscles. These people felt better. Their joints were looser, their movements more fluid, and their energy higher than ever. From that day on, Maria embraced her Mediterranean twist. Every morning, she drizzled 2 tablespoons of EVO over her roasted vegetables. Lunch, a crisp salad with a lemon olive oil vinaigrette. Dinner often came with sautéed greens or grilled fish, both kissed with that golden elixir. She even made a habit of storing the bottle in a cool, dark pantry, just like she was told, to protect its delicate antioxidants. A few months later, something shifted. Maria felt stronger, lighter. Her morning walks lasted longer, and lifting grocery bags? No longer an issue. Adding EVO to your daily meals may seem like a small step, but for your muscles, it could be a giant leap. Aim for 2 to 3 tablespoons a day. Drizzle it over steamed broccoli, toss it into grain bowls, or whisk it into your favorite salad dressing. Just remember, keep it in a dark glass bottle away from heat and light to preserve its healing powers. You don't have to move to the Mediterranean to benefit from its secrets. Sometimes, all it takes is one ingredient to spark a healthier you. 5. Leafy greens. It was a brisk autumn morning when Daniel, a 58-year-old retired firefighter, found himself wincing as he climbed the stairs. His once powerful legs, which had carried him through burning buildings and up endless flights of ladders, now trembled under his own weight. It wasn't age alone. It was the creeping realization that his body wasn't recovering the way it used to. That was when his daughter, a nutritionist with a passion for evidence-based wellness, stepped in. "Let's try something simple," she said, placing a container of pre-washed spinach on the kitchen counter. "Just 2 cups a day. That's it." Skeptical but curious, Daniel began adding leafy greens, spinach, beet greens, and bok choy to his meals. He stirred them into hearty soups, tossed them into sizzling stir-fries, and blended them into his morning smoothies. Within weeks, the results surprised him. His soreness faded faster. His strength during rehab exercises grew noticeably. He even beat his personal best on the rowing machine. But how could a handful of greens make such a difference? Leafy greens like spinach, beet greens, and bok choy are rich in natural nitrates. When consumed, these nitrates convert into nitric oxide, a compound that plays a crucial role in widening blood vessels. This increased blood flow delivers more oxygen and nutrients to the muscles, accelerating recovery and boosting performance. These greens also offer a potent mix of magnesium and vitamin K, two unsung minerals in muscle function. Magnesium supports muscle contraction and relaxation, while vitamin K plays a critical role in protein metabolism and preventing muscle cramps. In a compelling study from Sweden's renowned Karolinska Institute, older adults who incorporated nitrate-rich foods into their diets showed a measurable improvement in muscle strength, a beacon of hope for aging bodies seeking resilience and vitality. For Daniel, the change wasn't just in his body, it was in his confidence. The ease of incorporating leafy greens made all the difference. With pre-washed options readily available, the excuses melted away. No chopping, no washing, just grab, toss, and go. How to make it work for you? Add 2 cups of leafy greens to your daily routine. Stir them into your stir-fry, blend them into your protein shake, or drop them into your soup pot. Your muscles will thank you tomorrow, and your future self will thank you even more. 6. Lentils and black beans. James had always believed that staying active was enough. In his 30s, he ran marathons. In his 40s, he took up cycling. Even in his early 60s, he'd make time for morning walks and the occasional yoga session. But as he moved into his late 60s, he began noticing changes that caught him off guard. His arms felt weaker. His legs tired more easily. He wasn't recovering the way he used to. It wasn't until a visit from his daughter, Lily, a nutritionist who always had a new health tip up her sleeve, that he heard a suggestion that at first sounded a little too simple. "Dad," she said, pulling lentils out of a paper bag, "you need to eat more beans." He chuckled. "Beans? Since when did beans help with aging?" Lily smiled. "Since science caught up with them." She went on to explain that beans, especially black beans and lentils, are far more than a fiber-rich side dish. Each cup carries around 15 grams of protein, enough to make a difference when you're trying to preserve muscle mass. But what really piqued James's interest was something she mentioned about the gut. They're packed with something called resistant starch, she said. It feeds your gut bacteria, and a healthy gut is now known to play a key role in how your body builds and maintains muscle. James raised an eyebrow. Muscle in the gut. That was new. And lentils, she added, are rich in iron and potassium. Iron helps carry oxygen through your blood, and potassium supports muscle function. It's not just about bulk, it's about your body working properly. She even brought up a study from the Aging Nutrition Lab at Nova University. It found that older adults who ate beans at least 4 times a week preserved significantly more muscle over 5 years compared to those who didn't. That was the moment something clicked for James. Maybe there was more to aging well than stretching and taking his vitamins. Maybe his muscles were missing something as simple as beans. So he decided to try. He didn't overhaul his entire diet overnight, but he started small. On Monday, he tossed some black beans into a salad. On Wednesday, he added a spoonful of lentils to his soup. Lily had warned him to go slow and to soak the beans ahead of time to make them easier on his digestion. He followed her advice, and sure enough, after a couple of weeks, his body adjusted. The bloating he'd been worried about faded. His energy started to return. By month 2, he felt stronger during his morning walks. He even added light resistance training back into his routine. What surprised him most wasn't just the physical improvement, it was how empowered he felt. A small, manageable change had created a ripple effect across his health. Beans weren't flashy. They didn't come in a shiny bottle or promise overnight results. But day by day, week by week, they helped James reclaim a sense of strength and vitality he hadn't felt in years. Now, he makes sure to eat lentils or black beans at least 3 or 4 times a week. Sometimes in soups, sometimes in stews, sometimes mashed into spreads. It's become second nature, a quiet ritual of care for his body and his future. For James, the path to aging well didn't start with a doctor's prescription or a fitness boot camp. It started with a spoonful of lentils and a decision to trust the science and the wisdom of his daughter. 7. Mixed nuts and seeds. Jason had always taken pride in his fitness routine. He hit the gym 5 days a week, tracked his macros, got his protein shakes in right after workouts, and made sure to get enough sleep. But lately, despite doing everything by the book, he noticed his progress had slowed. His strength gains plateaued, and even his usual post-gym pump didn't feel the same. Frustrated, he started questioning what he was missing. One day, between sets at the gym, he vented to his friend Maria, a fitness enthusiast and nutrition science grad. "I don't get it," he said, grabbing his water bottle. "I'm lifting the same, eating the same, but nothing's changing." Maria smiled knowingly and reached into her gym bag. "Let me show you something," she said, pulling out a small pouch filled with almonds, chia seeds, and sunflower seeds. Jason looked at her, confused. "Trail mix?" he asked. "Not just any trail mix," she laughed. "This is my secret weapon." She explained how each of these tiny ingredients packed a powerful nutritional punch. Almonds were rich in plant-based protein, perfect for muscle repair and recovery. Chia seed, those tiny little specks he usually ignored, were loaded with magnesium, essential for proper muscle contraction. Sunflower seeds brought something extra to the table, a healthy dose of zinc, which supports testosterone levels, and vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that helps protect muscle tissue from oxidative stress. Maria shared that she'd come across a study from the Mayo Clinic Aging Center that showed higher vitamin E intake was linked to reduced muscle degeneration. "Think of it like this," she said. "Your workouts tear your muscles down, but the right nutrients help build them back up. And these little guys," she held up the mix again, "they do a lot of that rebuilding work quietly." Behind the scenes, Jason was intrigued. He'd always focused on protein and carbs, but hadn't given much thought to the role of micronutrients. "So how much of this should I eat?" he asked. "Just 1 or 2 ounces a day," Maria replied. "A small handful, but be smart about it. Portion it out ahead of time so you don't go overboard. And always choose unsalted or lightly salted. It's not just about muscle, it's about overall health too." That night, Jason went home and put together small snack bags of mixed nuts and seeds for the week. It felt like a minor change, almost too simple to make a difference. But within a couple of weeks, he started noticing subtle shifts, better recovery, more consistent energy, and slowly but surely, a return to progress. His muscles felt fuller, his workouts more effective. He realized that building strength wasn't just about lifting heavier or grinding harder. Sometimes, the real progress came from the quiet, everyday choices, like a humble handful of nuts and seeds. In that mix, he found more than just a snack. He found a missing piece of the puzzle. 8 whole eggs. For James, breakfast wasn't negotiable. It was sacred, and at the center of that sacred morning moment, whole eggs, usually 2, soft-boiled, with a pinch of sea salt. At first, he used to eat just the whites. Fewer calories, he thought. But then he came across a study from the University of Missouri that flipped his routine on its head. It showed that consuming whole eggs after a workout led to 40% more muscle-building activity compared to egg whites alone. It turned out that the yolks weren't just innocent bystanders. They packed vitamin D, choline, B12, and, surprisingly, half the egg's protein. And that golden center, rich in leucine, a key amino acid in muscle repair. Eggs became James's daily ritual, not just for the gains, but for the grounded energy they gave him. Whether he was heading to the gym, to work, or just into the garden to tend his tomatoes, they gave him a foundation, one that whispered, "You are strong, you are steady, you are built to last." 9. Arctic char or other cold water fish. Years ago, on a trip to a remote fjord town in Norway, Maya had her first taste of Arctic char. It was buttery, delicate, and tasted of the sea. But it wasn't until much later, after reading a study in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, that she realized just how powerful that meal had been. The research was clear. Adults who consumed oily fish like Arctic char twice a week held on to significantly more muscle as they aged. It wasn't just the 20 grams of complete protein in each 4-ounce serving. It was the EPA and DHA omega-3s, the powerful fatty acids that calmed inflammation and preserved lean tissue. Maya, now a wellness coach, started recommending Arctic char, wild-caught salmon, or mackerel to her clients. Whole food over supplements, always. Twice a week, they'd gather recipes, grilled with lemon, baked with herbs, even tossed into fresh salads. In a world where convenience foods were everywhere, Maya had found a rare, simple treasure from the cold, deep waters, one that kept bodies resilient and spirits nourished. 10. Icelandic yogurt, skyr. It was just past 10 p.m. when Ethan reached for his fridge, a ritual he had come to cherish over the past few months. Not a nightcap, not even tea. What awaited him was a small, unassuming tub of skyr, thick and cool to the touch. Unlike regular yogurt, this Icelandic marvel was something else entirely. Ethan had discovered it while researching ways to support his muscle health as he got older. At 52, he wasn't looking to bodybuild, but he certainly wasn't giving up strength either. What made skyr his nightly companion? For starters, every 6-ounce serving delivered 17 to 20 grams of protein, most of it from casein, a slow-digesting protein that released amino acids gradually throughout the night. That meant his body, while at rest, was quietly working on muscle recovery and preservation. He stirred in a handful of blueberries and a spoonful of flax seeds, adding antioxidants and omega-3s into the mix. This wasn't just a snack. It was a carefully constructed blend of calcium, vitamin D, and probiotics, fuel for strong bones and a healthy gut. 3 to 4 nights a week, skyr was Ethan's secret weapon. And each spoonful was a reminder that aging didn't have to mean declining. It could also mean evolving. Preserving muscle mass after 60 isn't just about looking strong. It's the foundation of independence, metabolic health, and fall prevention. Adding these science-supported foods to your diet can slow, or even reverse, the muscle loss many consider inevitable. Have you tried any of these muscle-preserving strategies? Let us know how they've impacted your mobility and strength in the comments. Your story could inspire others to reclaim their vitality. Thank you for watching. Here's to staying strong at every stage of life.